Is your watercolor paper curling up like a potato chip? Then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Margaret with Sacramento Art Classes, and in this video I'll teach you some different ways to keep your paper flat and frustration free. And as a bonus, if you click the link in the description below, I'll send you my free supplies list that goes along with my videos. So let's get started. Okay, I've got 3 pieces of paper laid out for this project here, and I'll be using a larger brush. This is the Princeton Aqua Elite 6 Quill. You could use a large flat or a mop, just anything large to get water on the paper will be helpful. I apologize in advance. I'm working on a piece of plexiglass for this project here, this lesson, and there will be a little bit of reflection from my overhead light, so I apologize in advance. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 quick ways to do this. When you are using your watercolor paper, when you have a lot of water on the paper, it tends to curl like this. So as you're painting, you'll notice your paper starts to do this, or it may even buckle and get really wavy. To prevent that, you can tape it down. So I'm going to turn this over to the back, and you can tape it various different ways. This is rolled up tape, so it's kind of like a double stick. I would use this if maybe I was wanting to paint all the way out to the edge of my paper and I didn't want to have that tape edge that cuts off the last 1/4 inch of my paper all the way around. So you can kind of stick your paper on this way. And this is not foolproof, but it is better than nothing. So then we turn it over and press it down, and it'll hold it nicely for you. So that's a quick way. Another way to go is just normal taping. So right next to that, if I can move this just a little bit, we can tape the edges like this. I just catch about 1/4 inch of the edge of that underneath my tape all the way around, and the edges are nicely stuck down, but it will prevent it from doing that really big curling that can happen to you. If you're working with a ton of water, you're still going to get a little bit of wobble in this, but it'll be way better than it could have been. And this acrylic board that I get it at a plastic shop here in town, but you can get them on Amazon. I like to seal this down nicely. So those are ways 1 and 2. Number 3 is, it takes a little bit more prep, but it works out really nicely. So I'm turning over to the back side of the paper, and with my large brush, I want to make sure that I'm wetting the whole back of the paper. I don't want any of this to get off the edge of this piece of paper and onto my surface, my table or the board or whatever I'm using. So I'm being careful, and I do have to hold it down because, as you can maybe see, while I'm wetting this, the paper is starting to curl. So you kind of work at this for a little bit, continue wetting, and then you have to hold it still or leave it to absorb for just a minute or 2 so that the fibers of the paper are absorbing that water that you put on. This will be the back side of the paper, by the way. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I got to hold it a little bit flat. By the way, if you are learning watercolor and you're still struggling with something like, let's say, your paint to water ratio and how much paint, how much water to use, I'm making another video that I will link below, which is perfect for going along with this one, to teach you how much paint and water to use. And you can watch that if you're interested. So let's just work this water around a little bit more. I might put a little more water on my brush. Again, I'm making sure I get to the edges, but not overlapping. I don't want any water on the front side. Okay. And then you'll see after a while that your paper starts to maybe feel a little softer, a little bit less crisp. And that means that this water is sinking down into the fibers and softening. And by the way, if you're using 140-pound cold press paper that is 100% cotton rag, that's the best that you can use, and you'll have the best results for your practices and for your actual paintings. If there's any other videos that you guys would like me to make, just leave a message or a note in the comments, and you can request something and I will make a video for it, because my aim here is to help you guys master watercolor and improve your skills and things. I also have a free supply list that is all of a whole variety of different things, all the best supplies that you can use to have the best results with your watercolor paper. So there's a link in the description below. If you click that, you can get my free supplies list as well. Okay, so I got a good lot of water on here, and it's really important that you get all the way out to the edge without getting any on the paper. So I may even lift mine up just because I'm not quite sure I got all the way out there. And then when this is still juicy wet, shiny, nice and wet, I'm going to turn it over and apply it, stick it onto this piece of acrylic that I'm using. Some people use a board or a piece of masonite, a piece of glass, drawing board, or if you're going to paint on a counter or a tabletop, you can, but your paper needs to kind of stay there. Okay, so then we're going to turn it over, and the water and the flat surface will make your paper stick. If it doesn't stick, if it starts to curl up like mine is, that's just telling you that you don't have enough water on the back. So you want to flip it over and give it some more water. You may even need to let it sit for a minute. Whoops. Sit for a minute so that it has time to absorb and sink in. And then give it a try again. I'm glad that happened to me, because that lets you know that, you know, even though you've wet it, you may not have, the paper has maybe still not even absorbed all the water that you want it to. So letting it sit for a while and absorb, and then re-wetting it again can really help you with that. All right, so let's give it another go. And one other thing that might be helpful to you is if you have something like a small book to help hold it down. So I'm going to just put this for a second and grab, what do I have here? I don't know if I have a book. I'm going to press this down. Here's something. I'll use this mouse pad. And then I'm going to leave it like this for just maybe a couple minutes, maybe no more than 5 minutes, to help hold that down. And when I lift it up, the paper will be very flat and secure, and then I want to paint on it right away while it's still wet under there. The front side is not going to be wet at all, so you can just paint on it just fine, but the back side will be wet. And again, if you struggle, turn it back over, add more water, and you should be good to go. So thank you again. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Just to show you, I paused the video and let it dry for a little bit underneath this mat here. And when I take that off, it's maybe 5 minutes later, this is perfectly flat and nicely stuck down onto the paper with just that water layer underneath holding it to my acrylic board. So have fun and happy painting.